Has your dog ever run up to you, full of energy and enthusiasm, and started licking your hands non-stop? And in that moment, even without being able to explain it properly, you felt like that meant something bigger than a simple gesture? If that has ever happened to you, know that it is not a coincidence, and it is not an exaggeration on your part. There is something much deeper happening there, and most owners go their entire lives without realizing it. We tend to think we understand our own dog. After all, we live with them every day. We know their habits. We know when they are hungry, when they want to play, when they are tired. But the truth is that canine language goes far beyond what the eyes can capture at first glance. And licking, that gesture so common, so everyday, carries an entire universe of hidden meanings that science and canine psychology have been slowly uncovering. Have you ever stopped to think about why your dog licks specifically your hands? Or why sometimes they do it with an almost desperate intensity, as if they need to tell you something urgent? That is the thing. This behavior is not random. It is, in fact, a sophisticated form of emotional communication, a silent language that dogs developed over millennia of living alongside human beings. Science has already identified that behind a simple lick, there can be at least 6 or 7 completely different motivations. It can be genuine affection, of course, but it can also be a sign of anxiety, a way of asking for attention, a behavior inherited from ancestral wolves, or even an indicator that something is emotionally wrong with your animal. Have you ever been through this? Felt that your dog was trying to tell you something, but could not figure out what? What makes all of this even more fascinating is that the answer is directly connected to the bond that exists between the two of you. Each lick is, in a way, a mirror of the relationship you have built with your pet, and when you learn to interpret that gesture correctly, you do not just understand your dog better, you completely transform the way you connect with them. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to discover may surprise you in a way you were not expecting. We are going to dive deep into the canine mind, understand what animal behavior researchers have been revealing in recent years, and finally decode this mystery that seems simple but is incredibly complex. Because perhaps, in that very common scene of your dog running up to you and licking your hands non-stop, there is a message they have already tried to pass on to you many times. A message about trust, about emotion, about what they feel for you, and that, until today, went unanswered simply because no one ever taught you how to listen. And if there is one thing every dog owner deserves to know, it is exactly that. And before we continue, I need to pause here for a second, because this conversation we are having right now is not ordinary. Most content about dogs stays on the surface, talks about breed, about food, about basic training, but truly entering your animal's mind, understanding what they feel, what they are trying to communicate with each movement of their body, that is another level entirely. And if you made it this far, it is because you also feel that the relationship with your dog deserves that kind of care. So I want to ask you something right now. Think about that moment, that specific one, that probably came to your mind while you were listening to the introduction. Your dog licking your hands, your face, your feet, with that intensity that seemed to want to go right through your skin. What did you feel in that instant? What went through your mind? Leave it here in the comments. It does not need to be long. It does not need to be perfect. It can be a word, a sentence, a memory, because this space was made for exactly that, for us to share, to recognize ourselves in each other's stories, to realize that we are not alone in this immense and sometimes inexplicable love we feel for our animals. Your participation here is what makes this channel grow and reach more people with this kind of content. Every comment tells the algorithm that this subject matters, that there is a real community here, made up of people who take seriously the well-being of those who depend completely on them. And speaking of impact, if this video has already made you notice something new about your dog, if something here touched you in a way you were not expecting, click the like button right now. It seems like a small gesture, but it carries enormous weight. That click is what tells YouTube that this kind of content needs to reach more people. It is what puts this video in front of another owner who may have been misreading their own dog for years and does not even know it. In the end, one more like means one more dog being truly understood. And that, let us be honest, is worth far more than any social media like usually is. Now, if you want this not to stop here, if it makes sense to you to have access to this kind of content every week, to go deeper and deeper into your animal's language, to learn to read the signals they send every day that most people simply ignore, then subscribe to the channel right now. Because every video here is a new layer of understanding. It is a new way to strengthen the bond with whoever trusts you in an absolute, unconditional, unreserved, way. And whoever truly learns to understand their own dog never looks at them the same way again. The relationship changes, the connection deepens, and you begin to see in every gesture, in every glance, in every lick, an entire story being told. So subscribe, hit the bell, and stay with me, because what comes next is going to open your eyes in a way you were not expecting. The ancient instinct your dog still carries inside them. Now I want to show you something that completely changes the way you see this, because the hidden truth behind your dog's licks does not begin in your living room, on your couch, or in the moment they ran up to you this morning. It begins much earlier, thousands of years ago, at a time when the ancestors of dogs still lived in packs, still depended on one another to survive, still needed to create invisible yet absolutely essential bonds to navigate the wild world safely. Puppies licked their mother immediately after birth. It was pure instinct, a way of activating the bond, of saying, I am here, I need you, I trust you. And within the pack, that gesture continued to be used as a language of connection between its members. Licking was acknowledging the other as part of the group. It was a silent declaration of belonging, of loyalty, of deep affection that words, which they did not have, could never express. That instinct has not disappeared. It is alive, intact, pulsing inside your dog right now. And when they lick your hands, part of their brain is seeing you as someone extremely important to their emotional security. That is not an exaggeration. That is canine neurology. That is thousands of years of evolutionary history manifesting itself in a gesture that takes only seconds. For many dogs, you have literally become their entire pack, the only one, the center, the fixed point in a world that, for them, can be confusing and unpredictable. And that impact of being recognized as the emotional anchor of another living being is something that transforms the way you relate to them, what your dog is trying to feel when they lick you. And speaking of connection, there is a revelation that very few people know about, and one that completely changes the mindset of anyone who lives with a dog. We tend to interpret animals' actions through our own human logic. We think that when they lick, they are asking for food or attention, or simply being affectionate in an automatic way. But what is behind that behavior is far richer than that. Dogs explore the world in a radically different way from us. Where we use our eyes, they use their snout. Where we use words, they use scent and taste. And when your dog brings their tongue close to your hand, they are literally reading you. Human skin carries an impressive amount of information. Sweat, hormones, variations in scent that change according to your emotional state, your stress level, even what you felt throughout the day. To your dog, you are an open book. And licking is the way they turn each page, but the impact goes beyond reading. This gesture is also an active search for emotional comfort. When the environment is tense, when something in the routine has changed, when they sense that you are different, and they do sense it, you can be sure, licking becomes a way of relieving their own anxiety, of confirming that the connection is still there, that you are still their safe place in this journey. In many cases, your dog licks your hand not because they want something, but because it calms their heart. When that truth really sinks in, it changes everything. Leave a comment. They calm me just as much as I calm them. The emotional meaning that almost no one notices. Now I want to show you something that completely changes the way you see every lick you have ever received, because there is a layer of meaning here that goes far beyond instinct, far beyond scent, far beyond any biological explanation. There is an emotional intelligence in your dog that science has been slowly confirming, and that most people go their entire lives without recognizing. When your dog licks your hands, that gesture can carry genuine love, extreme trust, a healthy way of acknowledging you as a point of reference, or a silent request for attention that they do not know how to express any other way. Each one of those motivations says something profound about the bond that exists between you. And the most revealing thing of all is that they choose that moment with a precision that defies any simple explanation. Some dogs lick their owner's hands precisely in the moments when they sense sadness, stress, or exhaustion. That is not a coincidence. That is not bad timing. Studies show that dogs can detect human emotional changes long before people themselves realize what they are feeling. They read micro-alterations in sweat, breathing, posture, scent, and they respond to that with a presence that, many times, no human word can replace. Think about this for a second. Maybe your dog understands your emotions more than many people around you do. That truth has a quiet but devastating impact in the best possible way. It transforms how you receive every gesture from them, every approach, every lingering look. Leave a comment. They truly know me. When licking can be a warning sign, and it is precisely because of understanding all of this that an important question arises, one that few owners have the courage to ask honestly. Are all of my dog's licks healthy? Because there is a fine line between a genuinely affectionate gesture and a behavior that is, in fact, calling for help. And learning to see that difference is one of the most important decisions you can make on the journey with your animal. When the licking happens in a punctual, contextualized way, connected to moments of reunion, affection, and bonding, it is healthy, beautiful, and says everything we have already talked about here. But when it becomes compulsive, repetitive, and hard to interrupt, the scenario changes completely. The behavior that seemed to be nothing but love may actually be revealing emotional anxiety, excessive dependence, accumulated stress, or simply boredom. And boredom, behind the scenes of canine mental health, is more destructive than most people imagine. Dogs that lick without stopping, that seem unable to calm themselves, that obsessively focus on a part of your body or their own, are often sending a signal that an inattentive eye simply does not catch. Excessive frequency, when ignored, can deepen psychological discomfort and create behavioral patterns that become increasingly difficult to reverse. Observing the context is what reveals the true message behind the behavior. When it happens, with what intensity, what came before, all of that matters more than the gesture itself. And that mindset of attentive reading completely transforms the way you respond to your dog. Leave a comment. Now, I am going to pay closer attention. What it means when they only lick you now. Pay attention to this detail, because this is where the conversation becomes truly revealing. Have you ever noticed that your dog does not lick everyone the same way? That there is a clear difference between how they act with strangers, with visitors, even with other people in their own family, and how they act with you? This is not a random observation. This pattern hides one of the deepest truths about the canine mind. Dogs create unique and irreplaceable bonds with specific people. It is not by chance, it is not out of habit, it is not simply because you are the one who provides their food. It is a genuine emotional choice, built over time, based on trust, safety, and presence. And when your dog reserves the most intense, most lingering, most intentionally charged licks exclusively for you, they are saying something that goes far beyond any everyday gesture. They are revealing vulnerability. And in the canine world, that is everything. Your dog does not choose just anyone to show emotional vulnerability to. That level of attachment, that degree of openness, is reserved for whoever they consider their absolute safe harbor, for whoever, in their instinctive language, represents protection, stability, and unconditional love. Being that person in an animal's life is a quiet responsibility, and at the same time, one of the purest forms of connection that exist. This journey between the two of you has a depth that most people never stop to truly contemplate. Leave a comment. I am their safe harbor, 1347. And if you made it this far, I need to tell you something sincerely. This is no small thing. Most people spend the entire day right next to their own dog without really seeing them, without understanding what every gesture carries, without noticing the depth of the bond being built in silence. With every lick, every glance, every moment of shared presence, you chose to go beyond that, and that makes all the difference, for you and most importantly for them. Now I want to hear from you. Does your dog do this too? Do they lick your hands in a way you have never quite been able to explain? Tell me here in the comments, because every behavior can have a different meaning, and when you share your story, you also help other people better understand their own dogs. I read everything, truly, and I use those accounts to create videos that are closer and closer to your reality. Write it down below. I really want to know what your dog tells you without using a single word. If this video made you notice something new about them, leave a like right now. Not because it is an obligation, but because that simple gesture helps this content reach more people who love their dogs, and who may be misreading everything without knowing it. In the end, one more like means one more dog being truly understood, and that is worth a lot. If you love your dog and want to keep understanding what they truly feel, this channel was made for you. Every video here is a new layer of that journey, Subscribe now, because whoever truly understands their own dog never looks at them the same way again. There is a video right here on the side that complements everything we covered today. Click it and keep going with me over there.